I told him I was pregnant and he asked, "Whose child is it?" I never thought I'd be the kind of person to share something like this online. But sometimes, silence becomes unbearable. You carry so much inside that it starts to drown you. And somehow, it feels safer to speak into the void, to strangers, than to look someone you know in the eyes and tell them how broken you really are. We'd been together for almost 2 years. Not married, not living together, just dating. It wasn't perfect, but it felt stable, real. He was 31, calm, confident, the kind of man who made you believe that maybe this time you'd finally found someone who wouldn't leave. I'm 27, still figuring out who I am, still healing from the people who came before him. He worked in IT, always behind a screen, quiet, a little distant but dependable. I liked that about him. I had just started a new job trying to rebuild my life, my confidence. Together we found a rhythm. We'd spend weekends at his place, order takeout, watch movies until we fell asleep. I thought that was love, comfort, silence, and small, steady moments. We never made big promises. No talks about marriage, no shared plans for the future. But I told myself it was okay. Not everything needed to be defined right away. I just wanted him there. Then little by little things changed. He became harder to reach. Fewer texts, shorter calls. Busy at work, he'd say. Late nights, unread messages, excuses that started to sound rehearsed. I felt him slipping away, but I was too afraid to push. I kept telling myself he just needs space. And then I found out I was pregnant. I remember staring at the test in the bathroom, my hands shaking. 2 pink lines. I sat there for what felt like forever, staring, waiting for them to disappear. But they didn't. I laughed at first, a strange, nervous laugh because it felt unreal. Then I started crying. Not from fear, not even from joy, just disbelief. I didn't know how to tell him. We'd never talked about children. I knew this would change everything. A few days later I went to his place. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. I sat down on his couch holding the test in my pocket and finally said, I'm pregnant. He looked at me completely still. For a moment I saw something flicker in his eyes. Surprise, maybe fear. Then his face went blank. And the words that came next broke me. Whose child is it? Just like that. No emotion. No warmth. As if I were some stranger telling him gossip about someone else's life. Those words echoed in my head over and over. I just stared at him, waiting for him to take them back. But he didn't. Are you serious? I whispered. Yes, he said. I don't know. This is all so sudden. Sudden. That's what he called it. I remember standing up, grabbing my bag, walking out. I don't remember the elevator or the street or the rain that started pouring down. Only the sound of my own breathing and the feeling that something inside me had shattered beyond repair. The next day I tried to talk again. I wanted to fix it, to make him understand. He said he needed time. Weeks passed. No visits. No support. Just silence. I went to doctor's appointments alone. I tried to keep working, smiling at people who had no idea my whole world was collapsing. I didn't tell my family. I couldn't. Every night I lay awake, one hand on my stomach, whispering to the tiny life inside me, it's okay. I've got you. But I didn't. Not really. A month later I started feeling pain. At first I told myself it was nothing. Stress, maybe exhaustion. Then the bleeding started. I went to the hospital, terrified. The doctor's face said everything before his words did. He said there was a risk. That stress and anxiety could make things worse. I knew what he meant. My mind had been a battlefield since that night. And then it happened. Quietly, painfully. I remember the moment I realized I was losing the baby, the strange calm that followed, the silence so heavy it pressed against my chest. It was like the world stopped for a second. And then it was just gone. I cried until there was nothing left inside me. Alone in that room, surrounded by white walls and machines that beeped softly, I understood what real emptiness felt like. He never came. Not once. Days later he texted me. Just one message. Have you decided? I stared at my phone for a long time before typing back. My hands trembled. Eventually I wrote, yes. But it wasn't an answer. It was a surrender. A goodbye to the version of me that still believed he cared. After that, there was nothing. Just silence. Now, months later, I still think about what could have been. Sometimes I imagine a different life. One where he held my hand, where he said, we'll figure this out together. But that's not my story. My story is about loss. About realizing that love means nothing if it's one-sided. People like to say that everything happens for a reason. But some things don't. Some things just happen and they break you and you survive and that's it. So if anyone reading this thinks that an unplanned pregnancy is always a blessing, please know, it can also be a test. A test of love, of strength, of truth. And sometimes, it shows you exactly who someone really is. I don't know when I'll stop crying. Maybe I never will completely. But I do know this, that night, that pain, that loss, they changed me forever. And maybe that's all this story is. A reminder that not all love stories end with happily ever after. Some just end quietly. And the silence that follows becomes part of who you are.